all going super well already. We're back for week 10 of the NFC West show. We've got my boy Bo and JT. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Yeah, I'm sure you're happy right now, aren't you, Jay?
Extremely. Yep.
Yeah, and Bo,
can't wait to dive into it.
Absolutely. I've just obviously, as I just mentioned before, Bo just caught that we're not going live. Happy Memorial Day weekend to you guys out there. I know this is a big weekend, it's a holiday weekend for you guys, so happy Memorial Day. I may have gone a little over the top with the salute to service stuff this year.
Hey, that's all right. Yeah, there's no such thing as going over the top for our men and women.
A lot of Arctic camo. It doesn't go so well when you're wandering around London areas, but hey, it works for me.
Yeah, that's right. That's all that matters.
Exactly. I don't care about anybody else. Come on, everybody should realize that by now. Bo, let's start with you. Heartbreak last week. Overtime loss, divisional game.
Great game.
Great game. It's a game.
I feel like I jinxed you. I think the last thing I said was, man, Gino's just making great decisions. He's not turning the ball over, and then the game ends like that. So I'll take that one.
Take it. I think JT needs to take the blame for that one.
Yeah. There's a lot wrong. And the thing that's funny is, even though Gino did make some some questionable decisions, we'll say.
Good answer. Good choice of words.
The other, like, two of those weren't really on him. Like that one that looked like it was just really bizarre. Threw right to a defender. Looking back at it, he actually gets his arm hit. And so it's like, oh, okay, this makes a little more sense now. But if you watched Bradford, the guard on the right side of the line, you couldn't have missed more guys if you were trying. Like, he literally would have been a better blocker if he just fell on the ground and made guys jump over him.
It would at least slow them down a little bit. Yeah.
So it was just it didn't make any sense. It was a tough watch. And of course, I was there, so it's not like the whole time I'm just like, what are we doing?
that was a tough one.
JSN had a big day though.
Yeah.
He had a big day.
It's good to see him sort of the sharing around and him starting to break out, I suppose, right? Because, it's been everyone's been waiting for it. Everyone knows he's got the talent. Is it starting to, do you think they're starting to utilize him a bit more? They're starting to realize where his potential is? Or?
Well, I think it had more to do with DK was out.
Yeah, I think they always have. The whole country is realized, the whole world realized, man, JSN he's that guy. He has that talent. Yeah. If utilized.
Yeah. If utilized, and that's the thing, right? Yeah.
Well, and that's where you look at, should they have moved on from DK, right? Like he's been fumbling a lot this year. He's always been a penalty problem, things like that. And you could, in years past, have gotten a lot for him. But when you're looking at this year's trade deadline, where you're getting a fifth for a guy like D-Hop, and you're getting...
Unless you're the Cowboys.
The Chiefs, unless I was going to say the Cowboys would have gave you a third at least.
Like Cowboys would have given you Dak and a third, probably.
The Raiders would have given you a second.
Well, see, now you're starting to talk about trade value that might make sense. But if you're talking a third or later, you're not giving up DK for that.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make any sense. So, when you look at outside of the Cowboys just doing Cowboy things, when you look at all the rest of the trades, nobody was giving up any value for anybody.
No.
So
that's one of the things about some of those trades. They were team friendly, as you say, they cost nothing for half season loans of players that could elevate those teams, or if not, it's just literally a late round pick swap. Barely nothing in it, really, is it? I think the only one was the Lattimore trade, right? That was an actual sort of proper trade.
Yeah.
So this is all of the trades and the values. Nobody gave up anything.
No.
Even Washington in the main one, that doesn't seem like a reach for a Pro Bowl cornerback, which is what they really needed for Washington. I thought that was a great trade for both organizations. But yeah, you look at it, 6th, 5th, conditional 5th. Nothing. There's no big thing there, is there?
No, the most expensive trade was either Lattimore, which still isn't anything big, right? They traded they traded a 4th and a 5th, and they gave up a 3rd and a 6th, basically. The other one was the 3rd for Devontae, but I mean, when you think of what Devontae is, a 3rd doesn't really seem crazy. Like that seems like a discount still. So, I mean, when you look at all of these are all late round picks that are gambles at best anyway.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't you put DK in that Devontae, Amari Cooper category?
No, I would. And that's exactly why I say you don't trade him, because if your best value is a 3rd, why would you get rid of the talent?
Because you're not doing anything. You're not going to do anything this year, next year, 2026 with DK on that roster. So why not get, I mean, you're going to find great value in the 3rd round.
Well, I mean, it just depends on if they can figure out how to get the offensive line. Because I
was going to say, draft. All you got to do is draft off the offensive lineman.
Just every round of the draft, you're just going to go O-line, 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 O-line.
It's one of the things I did find funny was, people bury Schneider because they're like, oh, can't get the offensive line to work and all of that, right? And they're not wrong. Don't get me wrong. They are correct. But at the same time, we haven't had a good offensive line or a lineman that we drafted pan out since 2014 was the last time we had one that panned out. So from 15 on, they've drafted more than 20 offensive linemen.
Wow.
None of them have worked.
Wow.
And
that's bizarre because I automatically just associate the Seahawks just not drafting offensive linemen. It's just like the running joke of you guys don't draft O-line to protect your QBs. But 20 in the last.
I didn't know it was that high. That's a pretty bad hit rate. I didn't go to MIT, but that's a pretty bad hit rate.
Even I can work that one out, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you think that 2 of them were 1st rounders and 2 of them were 2nd rounders. So 4 of those 20 were day 1 guys.
Top 64. Wow.
And none of them have hit.
None of them have landed.
You think it's more of the player, or is it more of the coaching staff developing that talent?
I think it's got to be the ones evaluating talent.
Right.
It's got to be getting them in the building because there's no way that all of those guys are bad. Just like there was no way that all of those quarterbacks were bad for the Browns, right?
Right.
There's just law of averages. You had to hit on one, right? And the fact that you didn't has to be you either miss your mark on evaluating talent, or you're just, in the Browns case, they're just a
systematically bad organization, right? Everything about it is just bad.
But I mean,
can't evaluate, can't coach, can't do anything.
No, exactly. When you think of Seattle, like they're actually good at developing talent. So, I mean, this has to be just talent evaluation, not panning out.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Right. We had that with Steve Kine, right? As our GM, man. He couldn't draft to save his life. Just could not do it. Now we get Monty Osford in, and it's almost like the complete opposite. He drafts, and I feel like he hits on everything, but man, he is very tight with that purse. He will not spend on free agency. Love the Baron Browning trade. A great upside. But man, he's building through the draft. And I feel like he's kind of taking that approach of, when I feel like we're close, then I'll spring for the big pieces we're missing. But man, until then, yeah.
Yeah, so what did you think about finally going, I know we talked about last week, JT, about, he's got that purse, he's got the free agent, are you happy he kind of went out and got a piece that plugs in and it really helps you? Does it elevate you enough? Does it do enough?
No, because our defense is that bad. So it doesn't.
Typical fan, right? Typical fan.
It doesn't really do much this year. Except it gives us depth. Okay, he's a very high upside guy. I think he was drafted in the 3rd round. Hasn't done much this year because of injuries. I had to look him up when we, got him. I'm like, oh, looking at his stats, not very impressive. I think he has like, 5 or 6 sacks in the last 2 years. Last year he had 1 solo tackle, 7 combos. So it was like, man, not very impressive. But then you look at his tape and you look at the games he's played in, man, the athleticism just jumps off the chart. Great bend, great athleticism, great spin move. And he's going to be a great edge rusher, which is something that we need, especially with Dennis Gardeck going down. So you talk about injuries, we're decimated on the defense side of the ball, and that all they're doing is playing well. Talk about bend, not break. They bend between the 20s, but once they get in that red zone, we're number 1 in the NFL in the red zone defense. And, that's 2 home games back to back. That's the Chargers and the Bears. We have not given up one single touchdown, not one. So those boys on the defense side of the ball, man, they're playing some inspired football. Wallace deserves a ton of credit because he's doing it. I mean, I dare you guys outside of Buda Baker to name one Cardinal defense, one defender, one.
No,
Yeah.
your guys are way ahead of schedule.
It's like, I don't know what he's doing, but the entire team is bought in. Everybody in that building is bought in, and it's time for the fans to buy in that maybe these guys know what they're doing. Monty, JG, and company, they know what they're doing. So let them cook, let them do their thing. I'm still nervous about today. I think that's just the life of being a Arizona sports fan, especially a Cardinal fan. We never get above our skis. I still remember back, 20 years ago, the infamous Monday night game against the Bears and, Denny Green, the meltdown. The Bears are who we thought they were. We let them off the hook. Crown their ass. But
Yeah.
I remember that game. We were up 23 at halftime. And I went outside and, a lot of Cardinal fans were just hooting and hollering. What are you doing? We're the Arizona Cardinals. Stop. And what did we do? We came back and lost that game. So, just stuff like that always happens to us. So I'm not getting too high. Today, Vegas is favoring the Jets, which is crazy. If you look at the money line, 62% is placed on the Cardinals on the money line. Against the spread, 62% is on the Cardinals. So people are buying in.
It's only 1.5 points, right?
Yeah. But it's in Arizona.
No, I know.
The disrespect. Yes.
Oh, that's hang on. I'm gonna go back a couple of weeks. That's just rude.
It is very rude. It is very rude. The disrespect. I mean,
usually you get a 3 points right at home. You kind of get that 3 points.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So especially a 3-win Jet team, a Jet team that's 30th in the league and running the football, a team that puts up 19 points a game, 19 points a game.
Yeah.
And they're still favored. Hey, go ahead. Sleep on us. It's not a big deal. I'm not, overly confident about today, but I really like the direction we're going. I like the way that we play at home. The Bears gave up 21 points last week to us. That's the most they've given up this season to a team. We had 6 sacks. We had 6 sacks last week. 6 sacks and 16 pressures. We had 18 overall pressures. We had 16 pressures from 16 different guys. The most Next Gen Stats have been following this. The most any team has had that amount of pressures from different people since 2018. 46% pressure rate, safety in back-to-back games. I mean, and then James Conner. When you think of James Conner, right, do you really think of like a finesse, I'm going to make you miss kind of running back, or do you think I'm going to end your career running back? He's a wrecking ball,
I'm going to steal your soul by taking, just running you over.
I'm going to crush your soul. He has 54 missed tackles in the NFL this year. Number 1 in the league. Number 2? Number 2 has 31.
50. The thing
54.
With
he has
Connor,
101 yards
missed
after contact. Number 2 to Breece Hall. Breece Hall has 131. So James Conner is playing outside of his mind. That offense is really humming. The defense is just, we're playing great complementary football.
Yeah.
That defense is not great. You look at the numbers and you're like, oh man, these numbers don't look great, right?
They're
we're just getting it done.
You're doing it in the 20s, though, right? As you say, you're giving them up the field. They can move up and down.
But in the red zone, we tighten up.
Tighten it right up, yeah. But that's bizarre. You do wonder how many of those missed tackles on Connor are just people just falling off of him, though, rather than missed tackles. It's more like he's just run somebody through. He's just run through a tackle rather than juked or juke somebody out.
The one thing that I found interesting with this line that I think is, I don't know why they're sleeping on it, but they fire their head coach, right? They elevate their DC,
right?
But everybody acts like their defense hasn't slid since that
big
happened.
Big time.
But they keep acting like, oh, it's a top 5, top 3 defense. It's like, well, no, it was a top 5, top 3 defense. Now it's a above average defense with questionable game management. So it's why I took the Cards here. I mean, there's so much wrong with that Jets team. I understand on paper, you look at it and you're like, oh man, this team should be killing it. But the problem is there's the whole head part of football that is a big piece of the game, and they just find a way to bungle all of that.
I feel like their front seven is pretty hefty. They know how to get after the quarterback. They're third in the NFL and sacks. So they do. They're stout up front. They got some big names, a lot of money tied up front too, right? Hassan Reddick's coming back to the Valley for the first time as a Jet. So, it's going to be a homecoming type day for him. But, try to sack Kyler Murray. That's not an easy task. I mean, I know we gave up 3 last week, but again, the Bears defense is very good, especially in that secondary, not necessarily in the front seven. But that secondary is, I saw a lot of great, I mean, if I was a Bears fan, man, first of all, I've never been impressed with Caleb Williams. I was impressed with Caleb Williams last week. His escapability, he had a pass in the first quarter where he was rolling right and he threw back kind of left. It was like, how did you complete that? Holy cow. So he was just very impressive. That Bears secondary was impressive. So I don't know. I saw a lot of great things. I mean, that our stadium was all Bears fans. So it was, I mean, I had nothing to do but talk to Bears fans. So of course they left pretty upset, but I was consoling them and telling them a lot of great things, I think, on the horizon for the Bears. But again, I think we're going to see kind of the opposite this week, or better front seven. That secondary, the Jets have 2 interceptions on the year too. I think that's 30th.
That's shocking.
League, so.
That's criminal for that second.
Yeah, and Kyler's a very accurate, very mobile quarterback. So I don't see them getting a pick today. And I just see James Conner. I mean. Did you see that touchdown run by DeMarcado in the first half? That 54-yard.
They were literally trying to run out the clock, weren't they?
Yeah,
just a little off tackle.
Maybe field goal range, something.
Yeah.
Just run out the clock, something. Yeah.
And
should I kneel it down? I won't kneel it. We'll just give it to Amari. Oh wow. Me and my son went to get. I think he wanted like a churro or something. I'm like, okay, now's a good time.
Yeah, now's a good time. There's like
rush, and then the crowd explodes. I'm like, what's going on? So
took a knee. It's like no, it literally you could see all of the offensive line. It's like just a little shuffle right. We expect this to go nowhere, and it's a huge gaping hole. And he was just like, well, see ya. I'm taking that. Yeah, it's a bizarre ending to the half.
Yeah, it definitely was. But and again, we're doing this without getting that pass game, really lined up, right? We're not. I feel like they're kind of running with whatever works that day, that game. And if it's the run game, they're going to stick with that. If it's outside of Trey McBride, we just haven't seen a lot of consistency from our wide receivers, and I think that's okay. I think that'll come. Kyler's having an amazing year. His efficiency, his numbers, his QBR, I mean, just every statistical, matrix that a quarterback has, he's top 5, top 6. And so I really love how he's running this offense and kind of giving what the defense gives him, not forcing anything. But again, once we get those wide receivers dialed in, man, it's going to be 2025 is our year.
You're almost taking it. You're taking whatever's there, so you're not going in with a predefined. Or we're going to run this team. We're going to run because maybe it's just like, hey, run's just not working, and you're able to flip and you're able to flex a little bit within your game plan. So you're not sort of structured in your game plan. We're going to always do this, and sometimes I think Kyle gets stuck in his own head sometimes. He's got a game plan and he must stick to it with the Niners. And he's always going to do that, even if it's not working. I think we saw it against the Chiefs when, we're always going to run on first down, even though the Chiefs were absolutely stomping us on that. It's like, no, we're going to run on first down. It's like, get away from it. But it's good. It's interesting that you guys are able to do that, or it feels like you're able to do that right now.
Well, I think that Chargers game was a great example of, the Chargers are very good at stopping the run. And we coming out of that game, we outran the Chargers almost 2-1, shut them down. They run the ball very well. And it's like, okay, they either saw something on film they thought they could take advantage of, or they realized early on, hey, this is working. Let's keep doing it. And isn't it funny that, and I'm not comparing JDG to Bill Belichick or anything, but if you look at Belichick, what he did was he just did whatever the defense gave him, he did.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Well, it's one of the things that I like about Kyler, right, is he looks like he's making better decisions.
Yes.
Right? Like he looks like he has really matured as a player, which, you pair that with his athletic ability.
Yep.
It's a dangerous combo.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think for the first time now in his career, he feels like I don't have to be the guy.
Yeah.
I'm a guy. I'm not the guy.
The guy. Don't have to be the only one. Yeah.
And if you guys remember, I talked about that when it was, I think, after week 1, when Marvin Harrison didn't get the ball and there was this big hoopla and Kyler came out and said, "That's not my job."
Yeah.
I love
my job
that
to get
comment,
the ball.
because that tells me, hey, he doesn't think he's the guy. He thinks he's a guy. He's bought into this team. I'm with the team. I'm a Cardinal.
Yep.
Yes, I'm the quarterback, and kind of is your job, but it's also your
job to get the ball to.
Give what the defense gives you, and like go to your. I mean, he's making great decisions, and sometimes I would like to see him make, because he can, those tougher decisions, those higher risk plays, just because he can. But he's just playing so well right now.
Yeah, well, it's always nice when you see, a key player like that start to worry about the name here rather than doing this.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's actually one of the things that fell apart with Russ here in Seattle, is it became less this and more this.
More Russ, yeah.
Yeah, and
which is
then,
a shame. I mean, what an elite talent, right?
No question.
I still remember you guys drafting him in 3rd round out of Wisconsin, right? And you just paid $7 zillion to a Green Bay quarterback. And I'm like, there's no way Pete Carroll's going to start this rookie from it. There's no way. Wait, yep, he is. And the rest was history. Yeah.
That's one of the things that I liked about the Carroll era. And honestly, what the Niners do is they don't care if they're paying or they gave up a ton of draft capital to get a guy. They want the best guys on the field.
Yep.
And it's one of those where you watch around the league and they're like, "Oh, we paid this guy, he has to play." It's like, no, he doesn't. Like, you're on the hook for the money no matter what. You might as well go win games.
Right. Because it's your job that's going to be lost or won at the end of the day.
I mean, it's why I didn't get why Deshaun wasn't benched. I understand you're paying him all the money ever, but at the same time, he's terrible.
That money's guaranteed anyway. You can't get any of it back. Like, hey, turn the page to somebody else.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it just didn't make sense. Or, like the game that's on right now, Daniel Jones not living up to that contract.
Oh, wow. Jets really did a bad thing there. That was a bad one.
They're losing to Carolina right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that says it all, doesn't it? I mean, I know and I feel for the German fans. What a, hideous game to send over.
Dude, and we've talked about this before, right? I mean, just the arrogance of the NFL. Like, we will send you the Panthers and the Giants, and you'll like it.
Yeah, and you'll sell out, and you'll come out.
At least send them a good game, like maybe even a B game, not
So the teams are trash, but the game has actually been decent. Because
I've been watching Daniel Jones play. I wouldn't call that decent play.
No, from the Panthers.
Yes, right,
yeah. Panthers offense versus the Giants defense. That's what this game is, and it's been decent, right? Like, I wouldn't say it's been great, but it's competitive football. So at least they didn't send a just absolute beatdown, right? Like, they didn't send the Bills against the Panthers or something that
Although German fans might have wanted to see that instead.
I mean, maybe it just makes me think of like Mike Tyson title bouts, back in his prime. You're like, all right, we paid $85 for this pay-per-view. 13 seconds later, you're like, cool.
That was worth it. That was 80. That was £50 stayed up till 4 a.m. in the morning.
Exactly.
But I remember some of those. I remember the Bruno Tyson one. It's like massive over here. Just going off on a complete tangent right now. But it was like up until 3 a.m. Pubs were open. It was huge, and then it was like, right.
Yeah, it was block, tag,
done.
You're like,
okay, right. We'll go home now. 3 a.m. going. Well, that was worth it, wasn't it?
He didn't buy anybody. He didn't buy anybody.
All he did was just beat people up.
No ears were gone.
I mean, you hadn't even got the first sip off your beer and the fight was over.
Like, what?
It's like, what? What's going on there? Yeah, come on now.
Yep.
Anyway, speaking of Mike Tyson and beatdowns, we get a certain, post bye, everyone's getting healthy, and their offensive player of the year looks like he's suiting up. Probably, I would assume, on a snap count.
Oh yeah.
Oh sure.
Right. He's not. They're certainly not just going to go, "Hey, CMC's back and lean completely."
We were
back
doing
on
our
again.
picks this morning. My wife and I and our son, our 8-year-old, and my wife and I picked the Niners, and my son quickly picked the Bucks. And I'm like, okay, hey, just truth in lending. I'm just telling you this info because I know it, and I don't think you do know it. Christian McCaffrey's supposed to be back today. He's like, oh, give me the Niners.
Yeah, it's like, I'll give it. I'll change that. Yep.
All of a sudden, I'm sweating that Week 18 game because Week 18 we peaked.
Yeah, that's going to be. I tell you, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. That's going to be a big game that Week 18.
That's good.
Game.
It could be a huge game.
Yeah, if things
no
work
doubt.
out. Yeah, but yeah,
So-
it's not only. I think it's not only CMC, but I think Debo's back, even though he's carrying a sort of a rib oblique injury. I think Jennings is back as well. So it's starting to get all the bodies back in, which is kind of what we've been needing.
You're going to be a little bit banged up, but I mean, at least they're on the field.
Yeah, I mean, it's Week 10, right? Everyone's got players who are banged up and nipped and whatever else. So the fact that they've had a week and a half, 2 weeks to get right and get a little bit better, it's probably the right time. Jay, I think you're looking forward to it. You've got to buy after this week, haven't you?
Yep.
Yeah, and
then
your
we
buy
go to
is
It's this week. Yeah,
It's this week.
we're on our bye this
That's
week,
right.
which is
Yeah.
huge. Which is huge.
after last week. And get everybody back.
Yeah, well, and we're supposed to get Lucas back, so we're finally going to have our tackle, right? So maybe we'll have a tackle rated in the top 50.
Woohoo! Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. You go what? None in the top 50. Yeah, but it's an interesting. The Bucks. It's the way at the Bucks is an interesting dilemma right now because you look at it and you think, well, Baker's going to Baker and be gritty and do what he does, but then you go, yeah, but they've got no receivers now, do they? So
Yeah.
they got, and it's like you feel for them because they were kind of in there, and you thought they were going to make that NFC South sort of like a bit nuggety and whatever else. And now you're like, it's a struggle for them to see where they're going to get any sort of production.
When they had their receivers, they could hang with anybody. I mean, they're the only loss for the Lions, and they even without the receivers almost got by KC. So I mean, it's a talented team, and Baker's playing the best football of his career.
At 71% completion percentage. What's that?
And you guys know I'm not a huge Baker believer, but I mean, he's playing the best football of his career right now.
Oh, no doubt. I think he was playing inspired football last year, and this year, I mean, it could be even better. 71% completion percentage. I mean, he's playing some good ball. Todd Bowles is a good coach, man. He's got it.
It's almost like if there's a little bit of sort of recovery or
comes to mind,
redemption.
right? He's in a program that believes in him. So now he's playing better. And it's similar to what Jared Goff is doing with the Lions, right? Like he played well with the Rams, but
just
as soon as he
didn't get them over that hump thing, did it? Yeah.
Yeah, but as soon as he got to the Lions, they're like, no, you're our guy. Yeah. And you just watched his game take that next step. Yeah. And we were kind of seeing that with Baker.
I feel like Baker's more gritty, there's a lot more toughness to him. He's more rugged. He can take some hits.
I just meant the elevation switch of the game going from the Browns to the Bucs.
I was going to say he's more of like a Bud guy, and
yes.
What's his name? He's more of a Michelob Ultra guy, maybe.
Yeah. Would you even say Bud?
Finesse.
He seems like a malt liquor kind of.
He doesn't seem like a Bud.
Maybe too old.
That's too polished. It's like a moonshine jam jar.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some Schlitz when he's feeling fancy.
Really living it up. Yeah. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it is. It's just Buccaneers. He's gone to Tampa. He's kind of found a home. He's bounced, as you say, went to Browns, bounced around a bit, and he's found somewhere where they appreciate his toughness, appreciate what he brings to the team. And he's thriving, and he's showing some of the same stuff he showed at college. He showed some of that OU stuff, where he was gritty, he was in the face, he was like the kind of QB. They still hate him at Ohio State for doing the whole flag thing and everything else. So he went out and he riled people up, and I think that's what he's found a plucky Buccaneers sort of team that buy into that. So, fair play to him. But yeah, I think they're just going to struggle now for the rest of the season with, take it. Any team would struggle losing Mike Evans, but then Mike Evans and Chris Godwin both going down. You're just like,
right.
Yeah, because and I don't think Rashad White's exactly setting a world of light in running back either. I think he might actually be losing his spot to Bucky Irving. So
Absolutely. Well, I think he has a higher rushing yards per average. He has 46 yards a game, and I don't think Rashad White is up there.
So, but it does make them quite one-dimensional now, I think,
It does.
And that's only gonna benefit teams playing them, because they'd be like, well, stack the run. Your receivers are who? K-Dot at tight end and some rookies, I think, pretty much is what we've got, I think. So,
Yeah, I think this is going to be a shoe-in for you guys. What's the line? 6.5. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. 6.5
Wow.
away.
Yeah.
You're going across the country and they're giving you 6.5. Wow.
No, the fact that all Baker has is a tight end to throw to, I mean, you guys are going to beat him up. Like 6.5, I would take you and the points. Like you guys are going to beat him up. Like it's unfortunate because you feel bad for him. That Bucs team was really talented. Just the injury bug hit him in a weird way. But I mean, you guys are getting everybody back, not at 100%, but I mean, I'll still.
We shouldn't need them at 100%, right? Yeah.
Exactly, and I'll take the 15 CMC carries.
15 carries, a couple of catches. That'll do. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
2 TDs probably, because he'll carry them in from like 3 yards out. Probably throw one just for giggles. Kyle just be crazy with him and do some gadget stuff. But yeah, I think I've got us 35-20 winners here. Unfortunately, I think I didn't realize it was 65, but I think that it seems like they are beaten up. We will know what they're going to do. They'll probably still move the ball up and down a little bit, because unfortunately we still haven't got Dre Greenlaw back, so we still don't have anyone who can cover a tight end from the linebacker position, because Fred will cover the running back. Dre was always our tight end cover back, and Flanagan Fowles and everyone else don't quite match up to that sort of Dre Greenlaw cover the tight end. And I think having Shavarius Ward not in the secondary is going to be not too much of a loss, but it will mean that I think Renato Green, whose jersey's over there in the corner, he'll probably be playing a bit more as well. So get a rookie cornerback, because we've given Shavarius Ward that personal time off. So there's matchups, but this is the perfect game, if you like, to
this is the perfect game to have a rookie cornerback. Yeah. But again, like you said, they lost to Kansas City by 6 last week. They lost to Atlanta by 4 or 5 the week before.
Yeah, they're hanging around.
Yeah, they are. So I don't know, 6.5. I might take those points, Bo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, too many weapons for the Niners here. I mean, I agree with you, because the Bucs are such a gritty team, right?
They are.
Their guys want to win. I mean, they trot out there on the field. They're like, you know what? We are undermanned in every way, but damn it, we're gonna give it a go. Yeah. And so I respect that. But if you're gonna play a team like the Niners that's starting to get healthy, or you're gonna do that against the Bills or the Ravens, I don't see that being a thing. Because I mean, the biggest part is, they were close with KC, but let's be honest, even though they're undefeated, they haven't played great football, right?
No.
Like they haven't looked like a great team. And then you look at the Falcons, you're like, oh, they're an okay team, right? Like they're in a terrible division.
I like Atlanta. Yeah.
No, like they're good, but they're not the top teams, right? Like they're a playoff team, no question. But
that's because the NFC South, though, right?
Yeah, but I mean, even without that, like I think they're a playoff caliber team.
Atlanta.
But but they're not. They're not the Bills. They're not the Ravens, the Lions. Like those. They're not those types.
Right.
Of teams,
they're not going to play in.
They're kind of like a one and done playoff team, right? You think they'll get to the playoffs,
but
yeah, exactly. So for them, for the Bucs, even injured, to be able to hang with them or KC, because they're very flawed teams, makes sense.
A KC team though that beat San Francisco, right?
Correct.
Beat the pants off of us.
Okay.
Just to point that out.
No, I mean,
didn't want to say it, Gary, out of respect, but they did beat you like you stole something.
Yeah.
No,
that was a soul. That was a soul crushing.
We said this last week. Me and Gary were talking about this last week before you showed up the last 7 minutes, Bo. And
well, had I known you were going early, I would have shown up.
Excuses.
We didn't. Hey, we didn't move, Bo. We stayed at the same time.
My clock stayed the same. The thing that
Did love
concerns me about the
Roman
Niners,
show.
though, is that, they have talent galore. Nothing has changed outside of CMC. And I'm not saying that's a huge piece. I mean, that's MVP. I get it. But come on, Jordan Mason's not a slug. What is he, second in the league in rushing yards? Like, come on. I mean, Jordan Mason is playing in that system phenomenally. So,
Yeah.
just the personnel the Niners have, they did it 2 years ago. They did it last year. This year, for some reason, they're just not doing it. We can talk about injuries and Debo being in and out of the lineup and Christian McCaffrey and Jawan Jennings and this and that and the other. For some reason, it's just not. Listen, everybody's got to deal with injury. Everybody deals. And the Niners never missed a beat. The last 2+ years, they just did miss a beat.
Well,
Didn't matter.
They did. When CMC got hurt last year, they missed those 3 games. They lost all 3 of them.
Who else was out? What's the left tackle's name?
Fred Williams was out on those same.
Yeah, well, and
Yes.
Debo was out also.
Yes.
And Debo
For
was
whatever
out.
reason, CMC being out hurts this team so much more than
Sure.
the impact on the field.
Any other running back lost for any other team because he does so much. He is a receiver as well, which you can't say that about many other running backs in the NFL. Can they catch the ball out of the backfield? Can they catch a wide running back screen? Of course, absolutely. You can line him up in the slot. You can line him up in the X or Y. It doesn't matter. He's a receiver. He runs great routes. You pretty trust him. Well, and why not? He has great hands. So yes, that offense it's completely different when CMC's in there. A major upgrade to Jordan Mason. No disrespect to Jordan Mason, but major upgrade. But for whatever reason,
they just seem to go however far CMC goes. I mean, it just, for whatever reason, everybody else, whatever the injuries tend to be, soon as that guy goes down, the team changes.
Yeah, and I can understand that. I mean, like I said, he's so dynamic.
I mean, even when he's not getting the touches, when he's just present, there's something different about the team.
And I don't know if it's the team
for sure, because you've got to account for him. When he's on the field, you have to account for him. He could never get the ball. Just put him on the field.
Exactly.
And it's like, ugh.
I think it was the same a couple of seasons back when Debo was missing. And it's the same sort of thing. Before we traded for CMC, if Debo's not on the field, teams don't have to give that extra. Because if Debo's on the field, the cornerback has to cover him. But the inside linebackers also have to be like, where's Debo? Just in case, right? Sure. So he's like a player and a half you have to watch out for. It's the same as CMC. CMC's on the field, then it's just like,
Well, they use Debo how they use CMC, right? Yeah. I mean, they got CMC because Debo's like, look, I'm not doing this. You're paying me as a receiver. But I mean, at the end of the day, the year before CMC got there, they used Debo exactly how they use CMC.
Yep.
And it worked.
It worked. Yeah, I mean, he scored bunt gloat.
A lot of wear and tear on Debo, though.
Was a lot of wear and tear.
That.
Yep. Which is why he didn't want to do it anymore, I guess, right? So, fair play.
Well, if you're not going to pay me like that, then no, don't.
Well, and
if you pay me that money, I'll do whatever you want.
Well, he was worried about getting slated as a running back because he was taking more snaps behind the line than he was as a receiver. And he's like, no, I'm a receiver because, that's a difference of like, $10 billion.
The whole wide back thing, isn't it? Type thing. Was he a wide back or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah, big difference.
Big money differences there. So looking ahead, who do you think? How are you feeling about today, then, Jay? I know Vegas seem to have disrespect for you, but
I feel really good about today. I feel really good about the matchup. I feel really good about the way we've been playing, especially at home.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the last 2 home games. We haven't allowed a touchdown in the last 2 home games. That's now I'm sure we're going to give one up.
Now you've said that,
right? We're going to like 7 today, right?
You said that, yes.
42-10 Jets. No, I like the way we're playing. I like, and we're doing this without Demarcus Robinson, our late first round pick, still out. We're doing this with our, second and third string right tackle, so it's like, we're doing this with 2 rookie guards on the offensive line because of injury. So But again, I like the direction we're going. I'm going to love that bye, and I can't wait to get to Seattle and play.
Mm. Yeah.
Now that's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm very excited about that.
Games are always fun.
Yeah, very much
frustrating
so.
a lot of times,
Yep.
but fun.
Hair pulling, absolutely frustration for me.
Well, I don't have that issue, so.
You know,
but,
you're good. You're good on that.
yeah.
Yeah. They're never easy. They're never comfortable watches, are they?
No.
Let's be honest. They're never.
No.
Are, so that should
And
be
records don't matter, right?
No.
Like you throw the records out the window. Divisional
Out
games
the window.
like it is gray hair inducing games every time.
Heart attack into you, roller coaster, just grab on and go for it, right? And whoever at the end comes out on top, you just kind of go, yeah, well, that's kind of an NFC West game, right?
Yep.
What
Absolutely.
game catches your eye, Bo? I mean, obviously you're going to be across red zone, just watching all of them. Which one are you thinking, is going to catch your eye? Because I'm looking across there, there's a few interesting games.
So the game of the week has to be the Steelers Commanders game.
Man, that game's going to be electric.
That game is going to be phenomenal. Obviously the Ravens Bengals game on Thursday night, and kudos to the NFL to finally giving Thursday night a good game.
Right.
What a game it gets, right? I mean, wow.
And that was
It's
a
only
great
been,
game.
it's like one of those ones you finally stayed up in the UK and watched a game on Thursday night. Go, thank you. Finally, right? Finally got one that was worth staying up for.
Right? Like you see the headline of it, you're like, okay, it'll be a good game. And then it happens and you're like, it was a good game.
It was a good game, yeah. It lived up to everything, didn't it? And more.
Yeah, so,
the stat I saw in the morning was something like there's only one QB who's thrown for 8 TDs, no interceptions, so many hundreds of yards and whatever else. It was Joe Burrow.
Like 800 yards. There was like 800 yards in that game.
It was just insane.
I saw that. Only one quarterback has done this, twice this year, and it was Joe Burrow against the Bengals both times. It's crazy.
Yeah, you see it. It's just like wow.
I
mean, you see stats like that, you just got to be like, what have you got to do to get past those guys? Right?
That was like Jamar Chase in those 2 meetings. He put up like almost 600 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah. But it was interesting. It's like.
Yeah.
Still lost, and like that guy, Tywin Wallace? He's only had 12 catches, all of them against Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like he doesn't catch a ball in any other game apart from games against the Bengals. Mad game on Thursday, yeah.
The game that should have been flexed out though is the Monday night game. Why are we watching the Rams and the Dolphins? Like, why did that game happen?
Yeah. What's happening there? Is that the LA crowd kind of getting their way or something? It's getting to see Tua and
it is in LA.
Maybe I don't know. Like it's a weird one. Like it's not going to be a good game. The Sunday night game is the other game I think will be good.
For sure.
Lions
Texans.
Texans.
That'll be good. I wish that for whatever reason, when the Cowboys and Eagles play each other, their quarterbacks are always hurt. Like I don't know what it is.
You never get a proper.
Or death. Like one of them are always hurt every year for both meetings. Like it's always
usually they alternate as well, don't they? Dak's out the first one, Jaden's out the second one.
The way the Cowboys are playing, I don't think it matters. And I think Cooper Rush is 3-1 as a backup in Dallas. So Cooper Rush.
I still don't understand. What I don't get.
He's
5-1. Yeah, he won.
He's 5-1.
I don't understand why the Cowboys haven't thrown Trey Lance in there, or they've decided like. They know what he is. He's just bust. He's gone. Because this surely would be like, let's see. We got you on a rental and just give him a go.
I think that there's
it's
talks
because
that
Rush earned the spot. Rush beat him out.
So that says it all, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
No, the Cowboys are just a hot mess this year, and it's great to see. I can't.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Totally here for it.
Absolutely.
Yep. I brought marshmallows and everything. Let's
go and roast them. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's rewind a little bit.
Hopefully the sun shines through on that AT&T Stadium right in their faces again, so that they can't catch
that Steelers Commanders game. Look at the line. The line is Washington's getting 2.5 or giving up 2.5.
Yeah.
It's in Washington though, right?
It's in Washington.
Yeah. Wait.
So I was trying to explain to my son this morning.
Is that the Russell
it's not
Wilson
that Vegas
effect?
thinks that the Steelers are going to win. Vegas is trying to move the line to get more bettors, right?
No, is it?
Yes.
The Commanders were favored earlier.
No, I'm sorry. They are. They are by 2.5.
Okay. Yeah. No, so that makes sense.
Okay. Okay, sorry. I thought you when you said that, I thought you said they were
I'm
giving up
sorry.
2.5.
I might have said
I
that
thought they
wrong.
were. Yeah, I thought they were giving up. I thought they were.
Exactly.
They were
That's
favoring
why I
the
was like, wait a
Steelers for a
second.
second. It's like, whoa, hang on.
No, I'm
I
sorry.
was
They're
like,
getting
you are
2.5,
right.
but it's in Washington.
So
Yeah, so-
At least a coin toss. At least give them the 3, right?
so they had the 3 until yesterday. So
Okay.
I mean, it's
So
moved half a
betting
point,
moved
and
it.
I imagine that had to
Was
do.
there an injury? Was there?
No, I
one of
think
their
it had
running
to
backs
do
or
with
something?
the way the pickups that the Steelers got during the draft, or I mean during the trade
Trade
deadline,
deadline?
Free agency. Yeah.
is they pick up an edge rusher and they pick up a second
A
receiver.
big body receiver.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, granted, the big body receiver isn't going to be a huge impact just because, haven't been with the team. The defensive players, because obviously Washington has Lattimore now too, which will help. But the defensive players will play right away. The offensive player won't.
I don't think Lattimore's playing. I thought he was carrying a knock or something. But I think that defensive pickup for the Steelers is better because it just means they can spell TJ a bit, right? Which means he's not playing every single day.
Means you have to one-on-one TJ. So it makes sense that it would have moved the line like a half a point. I could see some of the money starting to funnel the other way after those pickups. But I mean, you're still basically getting your home field advantage there. But yeah, I mean, this game is going to be awesome.
That's gonna be a great game. I'm going Redskins all the way.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm all in on the Redskins. I love what they're doing there. I think Adam
do
Peters
too.
moved across from the Niners to that front
Well, of course
office.
you are,
Won
yeah.
the draft. Yeah, won the draft. I thought they've done really well in the draft. I mean, they've lucked out, right? Jaden Daniels has come in and is playing lights out. As I said on our show in the UK, it makes a massive difference. You look at the two QBs
They have
who are
talent,
playing
but they
well.
don't have 7 and 2 talents.
No, he's elevated.
You can see the pieces they have over there, and it's starting to come together. They should not be 7 and 2.
Should not be 7.
But you watch them play, and it's like, dang, they're good.
They're good.
This is not a fluke. It's not smoke and mirrors.
I mean, you can't fluke to 7 and 2.
No.
Like you
3-0, 3-2.
You can fluke to 4-0.
Exactly. No, I mean you can. You can have some bad competition. By the time you're week 10, you are going to encounter good teams.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it was interesting what I've discovered, or what I said on the show in the UK side of things, is you look at Caleb Williams, you look at Bryce Young, you look at Anthony Richardson, all these sort of young QBs who haven't played a lot of football, and then you look at Jaden Daniels and you look at Bo Nix, who both played 4-5 years in college, played a lot of college football. Those are the QBs that don't look out of place at the moment in the NFL, whereas all those other guys who have already had.
Your guy Purdy, same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
Played a lot of snaps.
A lot of snaps at Iowa, so he was there for seen a lot of football.
Trey Lance, not a lot of football.
Yeah,
Still not a lot of football.
Still not a lot of football.
I mean,
he's going to end up being.
Tua didn't play a lot.
If Jaden Daniels does not learn how to slide, he's not going to be playing a lot of football for very much longer.
Yeah, that's
true.
That drives me crazy. We watched him at ASU. We watched, as an ASU fan, you watch him, of course, at LSU. You want him to do badly because, he kind of left on bad terms, right? So he goes to LSU. And his style of play is like a Robert Griffin. He loves to run, and he thinks he can run over everybody in this league. You can't. Maybe you can in college. In college, you're playing with other 19, 20, 21-year-olds, right? We talked about this last week, Gary.
Mm-hmm.
He cannot play like that in the NFL.
Continue doing that. No.
And he does. He takes these huge hits. He's been in the league for a cup of coffee. That's it. He's been in the league.
There's still steam in the milk on him.
A couple hours. Yeah. And it's like, I've already watched him take 2 or 3 big hits, and I'm like, Kyler's like 6 years in, and I haven't seen him take 1 big hit.
Yeah.
And you look at it and you think, surely the experienced pro QB that they've got there in Washington should be able to it's Marcus Mariota. He was never renowned for sliding very well either, was he? So you do wonder if they need to go and get, a better backup, old school kind of go, look, this is how you slide. This is what you do. Like, I don't know who their third QB is.
Mark my words, Cliff will. Players around the league are watching this. They're watching the Redskins games, and they're watching what Cliff's doing on the offensive side of the ball, and they're saying, I want to go play in that system.
I'll take it back.
They
I'll
don't
go
really have that
7-8.
much talent, and they're 7-2 now. Here's where shit gets real, okay? Because Cliff has done this, right? He had us at 7-0.
Yeah, he's done this
Right.
before, hasn't he?
That was the Sunday night game against the Packers, right? AJ Green turns around, we're 8-0. He gets these phenomenal starts and then just falls apart in the second half. Now, I'm a Cliff believer. I've said that before. I'll always say that. Well, until he proves me wrong again. But
It's come back to that at the end of this season, right?
I
After
think
this
he's
season.
learned from his mistakes. Hey, there's a reason why when he was fired, Sean McVay wanted him. There's a reason why Bill Belichick wanted him. You're talking about the greatest football minds in the NFL. They wanted him. There's a reason why USC was like, all these colleges were like, please come, please.
How much can we give you? Yeah.
I'm gonna go, hang out in Thailand, for a year, getting paid by Michael Bidwell $7 million a year. Like I would too.
I mean, that's like $7 million in Thailand as well. He must have.
Oh my gosh, that's like $8 trillion in the U.S. Elon Musk was jealous.
Like a king out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then comes back and just does his
I really think he has learned from the past, but this is Cliff. Cliff gets out to these fast starts. He has these Maserati type offenses, and then it just kind of
the gears start to get a bit sputtery.
Yeah.
So you wonder
can he
if
keep it up? Can he keep it up? Can he keep it fresh? And
I think this is his first proper test against the Steelers team, which is starting to look playoff. No, I think the Steelers team is starting to look more
certainly defensively, right? I
think where this game could get kind of interesting, really, because for the most part, the Commanders are kind of the better team, except when it comes to the running game. That Dan Quinn defense, for whatever reason, can't stop the run at all, and the Steelers run the ball well, right?
Yeah, Mike Tomlin coaches a good running team, right?
Absolutely.
They're great defense,
running. And they're going against the 29th ranked run defense. Like that's going to be an area of this game to really watch.
Yeah. That'll be fun. Yeah, I think you're right. That's good.
Tampa Bay week 1. They lost to Baltimore by 2 at Baltimore. That's a tough defense. So they've played other tough defenses, Tampa Bay, Baltimore, but yeah, and they've lost both those games. So this will be another huge test. They lost the first game week 1 by what I say, 17 points, right?
Yeah.
They lost a couple weeks ago in Baltimore by 2. Baltimore's a damn good team. So, this is going to be a great to see, hey, what kind of a team are we? How good are we actually? And yeah, like to what Bo was saying, I think they are a better, well-rounded team. This is going to be fun to watch, though, right?
Oh, no doubt. So this is how they match up, right? So if you go Washington offense against Steelers defense, it's 3rd against 9th in total yards, right? Washington being 3rd, right? You go passing yards, 13th versus 22nd, right? So you're not a huge disparity here. You have rushing yards. 3rd rushing offense for Washington against the 4th rushing defense of the Steelers. And then when it comes to points versus points allowed, it's 3rd in points versus 2nd in points allowed, right? So if you flip to the other side of the ball, where the offense for the Steelers isn't quite as good, but the defense of Washington isn't quite as good as their offense, right? So it's 19th in total offense versus 14th, right? They match up well there. Passing yards, it's the 25th passing attack. Now, obviously, that's lower than they actually are because Justin Fields, played football today, this year. But against the 5th, right? So those numbers aren't as, there's not as big of a disparity between those as those numbers indicate. This one is where I think they do have a real problem. It's the 8th rushing offense with the Steelers versus the 29th rush defense. But then when you go to points and points allowed, it's 13th versus 11th, right? So, across the board, Washington is a little bit better team in every category as they match up, except the running attack. And so I think if if the
I
Steelers,
got Washington at third in the league rushing yards per game at 163, and Pittsburgh's at 138.
yeah. So I was going the actual matchup of the offense versus the defense rather than offense.
Right.
Because so when you do the offense versus defense, all of a sudden the matchup is very close.
Yeah, it's going to be a close game. I mean, that's why the spread is what it is, right?
Exactly. Yeah, this
give me
honestly
Washington all day long.
Could have been a true pick'em game, and I probably still would have been fine with it. Like if they would have just been like a 1 point, I'd been like, okay.
What's America picking? 53% Washington money line, 34. Oh, they're going 66% with Pittsburgh in the points. So wow.
So they think it's going to be a 1 point game.
Yeah,
it's going to be like they think it's going to be 21-20 and hit the under.
Yep. Wow. Well, I'm glad you get to watch that in about an hour.
Yeah, well, I don't have a horse in the race this week, so I just get to enjoy it.
Man, I love bye weeks. Bye weeks, you get your body relaxes, you get to breathe.
Such a nice feeling.
Enjoy your beer,
you can just watch football for watching football sake without all of that.
Watch football, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't lose months off my life. Yeah.
At least
fingers crossed today is nice and easy. You've only got the Jets, man. You just need to just smack Aaron Rodgers a couple of times and they'll fall apart. So
I'm telling you.
You've got it, buddy. You've got it. Boys, been a great chat. Love speaking with you guys. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy the football.
Absolutely.
Enjoy your games, guys.
See you guys next week.
Guys. We'll speak to you next week. Bye.